Another in my series of videos on why Jewish apologetics is so bad. This is a video called The Absolute Proof That the Hebrew Bible is True.
We know the Torah is true more than anything else because of the concept of national revelation. By definition, Judaism is the only faith that lays claim to the fact that there were 2+ million people present at the time.
I'm not sure what he means when he says by definition, but okay, Judaism has a claim.
No other faith makes that claim. And by definition, that means that if any one of us was to be asked, how do I know the Torah is true? Because that's what my father told me. And how does he know? Because that's what his father told him. And how does he know? Because that's what his mother told him.
Okay, fine. That's how traditions in all religions work. Somebody tells somebody tells somebody. Fantastic. Is that the proof that something is true? That someone told you and someone told them?
Take it all the way back to, and how does he know? Because he was there.
You lost me there. How can you establish how far this tradition goes back? Would you say that the tradition of Jesus' resurrection is true because you can trace it all the way back to the disciples who saw him alive after he died?
Then we take another Jew in the room and ask the same question.
Okay, same thing for any religious tradition, for any religion. When do we get to the proof that it's true?
And that's what my mother told me, that's what his father told her, and etc., etc. And how do they know? Because they were there. In other words, every historical claim in the first instance was based primarily on the fact that there was a public display, a public demonstration. Michael Faraday portrayed his demonstration of modern electricity to the masses, and they knew that therefore he was the innovator of that. Alexander Graham Bell presented his telephone to the masses, and they knew that he was the inventor of that, and so on and so forth.
Okay, because we have all kinds of records of these things. We have photographs, we have his patent, we have all kinds of independent testimony from different newspapers and witnesses, etc.
So if you were to question the authenticity of Torah, of Judaism, making that same national revelation claim, then you would have to lay the same kind of question open in regard to any other historical claim.
Absolutely, you should. You should expect to be shown evidence for believing any historical claim. You can find a ton of evidence that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. What is the evidence for the Bible's claim that 2 million people saw this or that event 3,000 plus years ago? Big zero.
No other faith makes that claim. Ultimately, how do you know it's true? Because that's what he told him, but it always comes back to one person.
You mean like Moses?
Who alleges that God spoke to him and gave him this particular book.
You mean like Moses?
So you'll ask a simple question, well, why don't they then come up with the same sort of claim of national revelation? And the answer is,
why should they? They did great without it, much better than Judaism did.
Because it's too fantastic a phenomena to fabricate.
No, it's not. Religions are full of fantastic phenomena. Have you read any world mythology?
Either it did happen or it didn't happen.
Did you just say either it did happen or it didn't happen? Well, I guess I can agree with that, but you are supposed to be proving, I believe, that it did happen.
I want to add one illustration. Imagine you have 100 people swimming in the ocean. Somebody comes by and says in a few hours there's going to be a big tidal wave. The 100 people are all going to go under. They'll be underwater for 6 hours. They won't be able to breathe. They're all going to die. That one person is going to survive.
Where's he going with this, I wonder?
He points to a person and says, that one fellow's going to... So first of all, what you're saying is impossible to happen because a person can't survive under the water that long. Second of all, how do you know this person is going to survive? It's ridiculous. Hours pass, exactly that happens. You're a skeptic. If you're a skeptic, you could say, this is what you could say, a skeptic, you could say, I have no explanation how somebody survived hours underwater without breathing. That's biologically not possible, but 1 out of every trillion people or 1 out of 100 trillion, it can happen.
Okay, I am intrigued.
A skeptic could say that. What a skeptic cannot say, in this case, is that it was by chance. The skeptic will be forced to say there's supernatural power. Why? Because it was predicted beforehand.
No, the skeptic would probably go for some much more pedestrian explanation, such as that there's some unknown technology at work, or that the event was somehow an illusion, or that their own perception was somehow tampered with. But where exactly are we going with this?
Now you can't say it's chance anymore. The fellow, and that is exactly Jewish history. Moses pointed to the Jewish people.
Prove that he did.
And said, "Atem ma'at mikol ha'amim, you're small, you're going to go underwater, you'll have so many enemies. They'll all disappear and you will survive."
Well, I don't know what verse you're citing, but it seems like the Jews still have plenty of enemies today.
How did we survive? The skeptic says, just by chance.
Not really. It's not by chance any more than Christianity going from a handful of persecuted oddballs to the dominant world religion is a matter of chance. It's the result of a chain of historical events, most of which are reasonably well known.
The problem is it was predicted before. There's only truth there.
Why exactly is that a problem? If you show me a verse, maybe we can talk. But why can't it just be a lucky prediction? I mean, if someone predicts that the Cubs are going to win the World Series and it actually happens, would that be proof that the fellow is channeling God or possesses superhuman capabilities? And frankly, I think if you look, the number of prophecies of Israel's demise far exceed the number of prophecies of its survival. Deuteronomy 4:26, I call heaven and earth this day to witness against you that you shall soon perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You shall not long endure in it, but shall be utterly wiped out. Deuteronomy 7:4, for they will turn your children away from you to worship other gods, and Yahweh's anger will blaze forth against you, promptly wiping you out. Deuteronomy 28:20, Yahweh will let loose against you calamity, panic, and frustration in all the enterprises that you undertake, so that you shall soon be utterly wiped out because of your evil doing in forsaking me. Deuteronomy 28:61, moreover, Yahweh will bring upon you all the other diseases and plagues that are not mentioned in this book of teaching until you are wiped out. So yeah, whatever you were trying to prove, and I'm not even really sure what that was, and I'm not sure you do either, I am just going to say that was some bad apologetic. Please try harder next time.